So I just wanted to pick on a few ideas on growth. So when we talked about this, the idea was to look at how to characterize growth and to reflect to the audience what our priorities are and what we want to do going forward and line that up with yours. So it's just, I just have about 3 or 4 slides. I'll communicate that quick. So 3 ways we put down here is, customer penetration, getting into, because we've looked at our statistics. We know that we have 3 or 4 seats in certain customers that are much larger than that. So we know that there's some untapped opportunity there. We're beginning to start to look at that and understand who those customers are so we can mark them down to see whether we can do more within those organizations. So that's the first one, more seats. Second one is a big one for us. It's a big a change in terms of going after larger customers. Here, the moniker we use to represent this is the middle market. Because, as one of the partners pointed out earlier, it doesn't make sense for us to go after the $100 million customer just yet. Some of those opportunities do come by and we'll fight them, but that's not the sweet spot for us. That's actually, we have to swim against the current to get some of those deals. So what we're looking at in a middle market means different things to different people. Here we're looking at something of, say, about 100 seats. So that roughly translates to an employee, about maybe 500 employee company or something like that. Right? Maybe $10 million in business or $20 million in revenue, something like that. So not quite the middle market as defined for large enterprise companies. So the idea there is we are, let's be honest with where we are. A few years ago, we were not ready for this market. The product wasn't there. The recognition of what Zoho could do wasn't there. And today, the product is actually in many ways ahead of some of the other stuff that I mentioned in a comment earlier, like the ecosystem. So this is the opportunity to accelerate on that piece, larger customers. And the third one is we have a broader suite of things, right? So there's more stuff we can sell. So we go in there, it's not just CRM, people are moving to the cloud, the trends we can do. So let's take this a bit. I got a couple of slides on each, but I want to open this up over here. Let's take the first one, getting in front of more customers. What do partners here do? How do you understand how do you even know if you're under-penetrated within a customer? We know. We start to understand the size of the customer, and then we figure out we're doing only 3 seats with them. So we know something's up. So there's something for us to do. We can go back to that account, look for it, right? And then decide how we engage them. So here's some thoughts that I can add on that. The objections of getting into more seats. People show the value quickly. We get into a few accounts, we show it works for them, and then take out that objection like, I wanted this only for 2 people. I wanted it just for 2 or 3 people in my company. Show the value, and then it doesn't really matter that they add another 5 or 6 people, because often it's not going to be the bottleneck to their growth. Another thing we've seen is multiple types of clients, multiple types of people at the client. So does this appeal only to salespeople? Does it appeal to somebody in finance? And you do that because in finance, all the reporting we do here is a big guidance for a finance officer to understand how they should manage the business, what they should forecast. And so that's, again, when you talk about CRM plus, you're also getting into clients outside the core sales function. So that's another way of putting more seats in the customer because now we've got that suite. Ricky talked about not scaling. That's another objection. People are stuck with 2 or 3 accounts. They're worried about whether they can scale with us. They're worried about whether they should do more than that because they think they can back out if it's 2 or 3 accounts. They are not over-invested in us. And that goes back to the scaling point that Ricky brought up and that we need to underscore here as we go. Sridhar once used this term with me. He says, rather than say we are cheap, I like the word surprisingly affordable. And I actually really like that term. I've never seen it before. And I liked it because it comes in the selling process as we present the product, as we present the capabilities and show the sophistication of what we can actually do, sometimes over exceeding the expectation of the customer about Zoho. This is a good way to bring it out. You get all of this stuff, and it's, you would be surprised how affordable it is. So I kind of like this phrase because I always hated selling low price. My background is in technology and enterprise. Before this, I've been an entrepreneur myself. And like the gentleman said earlier today, price is not an issue for many of the larger accounts. But it does come as a pleasant surprise when they know they're making a big investment and they're not so much worried about it. They're actually delighted that all of this stuff is actually possible at in a way that you can scale, in a way that you can walk out of, in a way that you can only do 5 seats, in a way that you can pay only by the month. All of these things make sense. It's surprisingly affordable. That's one big thing, right? Because a lot of our partner team has been focused on smaller accounts. So there's the mid-market, there's even getting to these customers. How do we get to them? The referenceability, the need for referenceability goes up as you go into bigger accounts. We're building some of that. We have actually a couple of people in the company now focused on only this, building referenceable customers and looking at these things. We're going to share some of those references, put them on the website. Another thing people ask is, I'm in real estate. Who's doing it in real estate, right? That's the point which makes the sale right there. So some thoughts on that. We position the advanced CRM capabilities because, again, a lot of them have a preconceived notion that Zoho doesn't rise up to the challenge, right? So that's that thing we debunk up front. That if you think you're larger, for a larger customer, we position the things. We talk about all the features, the workflow, the customization, the connection. Another thing I wouldn't shy off is innovation. I mean, if you look at it, we are actually innovating quite rapidly in this. We've got more than 30-some products. Sales IQ is a good example of innovation. We're doing something on the mail front. We're doing something within the apps. We're doing something across apps through integrated product suites. So this is a strength. This is a strength. As companies get bigger, especially when they're public, they fall on this. They actually no longer are innovators because they're trying to get that big Accenture deal, and they don't have to innovate for that. So I think this is an area that we can actually do a lot. Another thing I've heard from partners is account management. Now here again, given the model that Zoho has chosen, we rely a lot on our ecosystem to do this for us, that is the partners, right? And so we don't actually have active account managers working directly with clients. So if you're going after this market, I know talking to these customers, this is what they need. They need that kind of hand-holding. They need that consulting service. They almost need to outsource some of the things that they themselves do. And we've seen some of the partners who have moved into bigger accounts realize that they need to staff up in this area. They need to have people simply to hold hands, simply to help that customer. And if you're going after these markets, you got to plan for that. Because many of the smaller partners do everything, right? So when you get out to that larger customer, they need that dedicated resource. So we've started some of that here. And one of the initiatives that some of you may know, we actually put together a dedicated support person to support this effort for larger customers. Dedicated support person it's a small step, but it's a first step, and to serve those larger customers. The other one here is selling the product suite. There's larger customers. They are looking for a broader range of things. They have more sophisticated needs. So like we talked, they do need to do something in marketing. They do need to do something in lead generation, lead qualification, nurturing, all of that stuff. They're big enough to have a help desk. So then you can start to pitch the integrated solution. It makes even more sense for them than it makes for that smaller customer. Because you can put together a package now that helps them see that vision of getting to the cloud and putting everything on the cloud. And the last one, of course, is when you go to larger customers, they have other solutions. Ricky talked about not necessarily trying to belittle other solutions they have, but coexisting with them. And we see this with larger customers. Sometimes, very often, they're in direct competition with other things we do, but we coexist. Raju will tell you how we are actually one of Google's biggest partners. In many of our products actually work better with Google Docs than with our own docs. And that's the kind of agnosticism that we need to have. And we need to promote that. That it works with your apps, and we'll make it work. We're not going to make you change your decisions. Okay, last thing that I wanted to bring up is there was a larger customers. The third thing was solving a bigger problem for the customer, the cloud trend. And I think this is really, you can see the success of that when you see what's happening at the high end of the market. You see what's happening with Salesforce and the momentum they've got because of the suite. So the businesses are moving to the cloud. If you sit back and look at this, there's something fundamental happening here. The last few years and the cloud and these kinds of easy-to-use, almost configure yourself or partially configure yourself or DIY type of technologies have made it really possible for middle companies to do what was the purview of the largest corporations just 10 years ago. So they're able to manage a lot of stuff on the cloud, do this and spend a fraction of what a large company used to spend. I've had conversations with people who said they used to spend $1 million on something, and now they can do it for 50,000. So this is a transformative thing. And when we do broader solutions, we solve more parts, we put together more parts of the puzzle for our customers. We're looking at, and Zoho is really equipped to do that. Some of you may have seen where we are going with our positioning as the operating system on the cloud. Now, I'll be honest with you, all our products are not quite there. I mean, CRM is one of those that's actually advanced, and it's got the kinds of features. But don't make a mistake of where we are headed. You know, that's where we're going, is to be able to put a lot of these things together. And we've got very strong foundations on this. You know, we've got stuff on the operations side. We've got stuff on HR. We've got stuff on books. The books is becoming a better and better product. It's the third fastest growing product in the company now, after CRM Plus being the first. And we're looking at other things. We're improving what we're doing in docs. We're innovating our docs. We are actually out-innovating Google in our docs. I've been a 25-year user of Microsoft Excel, and I use our own sheets. It's not quite where Excel is, but it's actually better than Google Sheet, because I can do sophisticated analysis on the cloud, which is not possible in a spreadsheet today, but is actually possible with Sheet. Of course, I do have irritations with it because I'm grown up on something that was robust and had 25 years to fix itself, right? So that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So we are solving problems. If you think of the domains of problems we are solving for customers, we're solving customer-facing stuff, which is the focus of this conference, right? Sales, support, marketing. We're solving operations stuff. We're looking at things in books, invoices, expenses, all that kind of stuff, subscription management, all the kinds of things in the finance side of it, getting into a little bit more into HR as well, the back office, if you will. Productivity suite, the stuff that allows people to get their work done. The apps are absolutely getting better. If some of you take a look at the new Writer, you'll see how clean the interface looks. It looks much better than anything on the cloud. And of course, we have a bit of negative potential because people have seen this for a while and they think of us as that guy who built it 15 years ago. But you know, sometimes reincarnation actually works. So you're going to see that. And the point here is you cannot, that last line makes my point. You cannot actually buy this anywhere else. Not from Google, not from Microsoft, not from Salesforce. You can't do this, especially if you're a company that's not willing to spend millions of dollars. You simply can't do it. And this, we may not be quite ready here for every customer, but make no mistake, we're going there. And it will happen. It will happen. And we'll be really well positioned to do this. So when you're selling, think of that broader value. Find the ways to solve. We have the ability with the solutions to solve more problems for customers, not just their sales problem. And that gives us an edge that some of the other folks absolutely won't have. So that's all I have. Thank you.